Spiritist Education Department, the bookstore, and the Know Thyself study group for that Spiritist Center, as well as an active participant in the USA Spiritist movement as a speaker. Professionally, Ligia is a licensed therapist and has been working with children and adolescents with behavioral and mental problems at a major psychiatric hospital for many years. However, her most relevant role is a wife and mother. Welcome, Ligia.
Sorry. It's okay. Just sounds like a lot. I'm like, did I write all of that? Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being so accommodating and appreciative when you come in. So our lecture today is called Spiritism Shaping Our Identity. The reason I chose this topic is I know a little while ago, maybe a month or so, maybe 2 months, you guys went on that teen getaway. I don't know what you guys call it. And I know some of the teens from our center also joined in. And for them, one of the most relevant things that I picked up was meeting other kids their age that have the same religious affiliation, that you can talk about mediumship and reincarnation. They don't think you're crazy. They're like, okay, I get that. So for them it was meaningful to find other people that have the same beliefs. And also, you know, they always talk about how hard it is at school or with their friends when the topic comes up, you know, when you say Catholic or something like that, everybody kind of knows what it is. They don't question it. But when you say, I'm a Spiritist, they're like, you're what? So I figured, let's study together how is a Spiritism influences our lives and how can we choose to keep it as part of our lives. You guys are here. Some of you are here because your parents made you come here. Others because you like coming here. And the hope is that you will continue with Spiritism. But as you grow older, you're going to make your choices. You're going to make decisions. And one of them may be that you no longer wish to be here, which is what we hope does not happen. So I figure let's go over Spiritism and see how it can be a part of your life and how you can carry it with you. Whether, you know, you choose to be an active participant of the Spiritist movement or whether you just choose to be a Spiritist in your own life. I need that. No? Oh, this one. All right, so do I do left and right for up and down? Let's see. Okay. So who am I? I know it's a heavy and maybe loaded question to ask and this is the preteens and these are the teens, right? Sort of. You know, whether you're 9, 10, 20, asking, who are you? It's a difficult question. It's sort of defining what you're going to be for your entire life. And in some ways, people expect you to answer. You know, come on, we talk about it every day. You know, you're going to go to college or you're going to do this and you're going to do that. But it's not an easy question to answer. And I'll tell you that as adults, we struggle with the same issues. Just because we're older or because we're married or because we have a job doesn't mean that we have come to terms with defining who we are. So I figure we start by that. So who we are is a question of defining your identity. And I know for you guys it's significant because right now you guys are in school and then you're going to go to high school where everybody tells you which classes you got to take, which room you got to go to, what time you got to come in, what time you come out. But eventually you're going to grow older and you're going to be able to not go to school if you want to because maybe mom doesn't know that you're cutting class. You're going to have to select what class you want to take because, you know, you may choose to be a scientist or you may choose to be a dancer or whatever it is. So the sooner you start figuring out who you are, the easier it's going to be for you to make those questions because somehow society always demands an answer. Your parents, your friends. So what we learn is that figuring out our identity is finding out who we are, a sense of self. But it's also identifying the qualities, the beliefs, the likes and dislikes, everything that makes you makes you a person or group, and that makes you different from others. So you're sort of listing the things you like, the things you don't like, but also the things you believe in. For example, who eats pizza for breakfast? Leftover pizza. I've done it. Is leftover pizza breakfast, yes or no? Yes, it could be. Some people are like, what? It's what you believe in. If you believe that leftover pizza in the morning is okay, if that's something you believe in. Let me try to think of something else. Who likes sports? Who plays sports? Right? Let me tell you, I barely know if the Jets, what kind of, are they like football, right? I know that because my stepfather likes the Jets. I know nothing about sports. Sports makes no difference in my life, but those that rose their hands, yeah, go sports, right? How about music or dance, arts, right? That's something that if there's, a new set of like, I don't know, coloring something, I don't know much, but whether it's watercolor or this new texture or this new thing, that's cool. When the sport guy's like, yeah, go waste your time and your money, right? So it's all about what we believe in and what makes us who we are. And the sport guy, it's no different than the art guy. I mean, no better or worse. They're just different. And it's okay to be different. It's okay to like different things because that's what makes the world interesting. That's what allows us to fill all the needs there are in the world. If we're all the same, nothing would happen. In psychology, sociology, all the studies of people and human beings and functions, they also describe our identity as the conception, qualities, beliefs, and expressions that, once again, makes the person or the group. In a sense of identity, who here is a single child? Do you know what it's like to be a sister? I kind of have an idea from what you see, but are you a sister? Are you a older sister, younger sister? Who's here is the eldest? Oh, so aren't you like, you're older than him or she. You should know better. Or the younger child. You're the younger child? Oh, the spoiled brats, right? See? You smack in the middle? Oh, see? You guys are guys on my own heart. If you're dealing with a younger sibling, you're older than them, you should know better. But if you're dealing with your older sibling, they're older than you, they know better. So you never win, right? Right? There you go. So, we are individuals because you know what? At home, I remember I don't really like seafood. I don't really like fish, shrimp. My entire family loves it. So when my mom used to make it, I was the only one whining, why you have to make that? I don't like that. Can't you make me some chicken? You like meat? See? So I don't like fish. And that's fine. But when I'm in my family group, that's an issue. It's a struggle. So how do I manage both of them? Because there's some things that individually they're fine, but in a group setting, they can be a little tricky. Do I have to start eating fish and making myself fake like I like fish just because I'm in a group? We're going to see, right? And these are the things you guys deal with it every day. And it's difficult. It gets easier, but it's always difficult. So we're going to try to figure out how Spiritism can help us. We're going to read this. I know it's big, and then we're going to go little by little together. So is there anybody that wants to read this for me? Oh, let me go with him because you did the initial, and then we'll read it loud. Ready? I know it's big, so go ahead.
Okay. God has created all spirits simple and ignorant, without knowledge. God has given each of them a mission. It is aimed at enlightening them and progressively leading them towards perfection through knowledge of the truth in order to draw them near to God. In that perfection they will find eternal bliss without any trouble. Spirits acquire knowledge by experiencing the trials that God has imposed on them.
Thank you. And I know it's a big, big passage, but the goal is with this lectures to get you guys prepped to eventually growing up and being lectures and so forth. So, and we're talking about Spiritism, so we're going with the Spirits book. So God has created all spirits simple and ignorant, that is, without knowledge. That already sets the premise that all of us are created the same way, that we all have the same beginnings. We all come from the same place. There's no distinction. Remember before how we said, we may look different, we may like, the sport person versus the art person. They're differences. It doesn't mean that they're better or worse. So this kind of levels the playing field. We all came from the same place. We all have the same background. And he also says that God has given each one of these spirits, each one of us, a mission. We all have a goal. We all have something to accomplish. We all have a purpose. So yeah, life may be difficult and things may be challenging and I have no idea where to go, but there is a place for us to go. And Spiritism can help us find the way. He also says that it's aiming, enlightenment, it comes from light to illuminate, to make us better, to make us progress. So he enlightened us, leading us towards perfection. Everyone's ultimate mission is to achieve perfection. One day we are all going to be perfect. Although I foresee that from me is very far away, but we will get there. That's the ultimate goal, but it doesn't happen overnight and it doesn't happen in one lifetime. So each lifetime, it's a little moment. It's like you go through first grade, then you do second grade, then you do third grade. If you skip third grade, you're not going to be prepared for fourth grade. So you got to move on. Reincarnation life is the same way. So to progressively leading us towards perfection is each lifetime, each experience preps us for something bigger. So that eventually through knowledge of the truth, because if somebody gives us the wrong direction, right? If instead of saying behind Starbucks, they said behind Dunkin' Donuts, would we ever find the place that Chietininha was telling us to go to for the tag sale? We'd be looking for every Dunkin' Donuts and never find the place. We would find the Dunkin' Donuts, but never find the tag sale. So it's knowing what's the truth, what's the right information, so that we can actually be pulled to be drawn towards and near God. So, and the being drawn is a very important. When you draw something, what are you doing? You're pulling it, right? You're drawing it to you. Because even if we're lost, even if we are confused, even if we don't know where we're going, the love of God by the truth is pulling us. It's directing us towards Him. It's sort of like when you don't want to do something or you don't want to go somewhere, you don't want something to happen, but it just seems that things just go that way, even when you try to avoid it. It's life kind of leading you to where you need to go. And those are the moments that we need to stop and reflect. I'm fighting this. Should I maybe go along with the flow? Should I maybe let things ride? Because God is always looking for enlightenment. And you're leading us towards perfection, right? And it goes, in that perfection, they will find eternal bliss without any troubles. We all know life is full of happiness, but is also full of challenges. And when we are in a moment of sadness or conflict, sometimes it just feels like it's too much. Especially in this age where things are so confusing, sometimes you just want to give up. And it's normal and it's okay. But if we go back and remember, eventually, eternal bliss with no troubles is what awaits us. It will give us the motivation to keep on going because the energy of the truth is drawing us closer to God. Spirits acquire knowledge by experiencing the trials that God has imposed on them. And this is sort of, I won't ask you to raise your hands, but how many people have said, I wish I was born in a different family? You don't have. Or like, I hate my brother, I hate my sister, I wish they weren't. You don't have to show hands, guys. But you know what? I don't like my mother or my father, right? And so on and on and on. But you know what? Look at this. God will put us in the place that we need to be so that we can become better. Remember, the ultimate goal is for us to get enlightened and to progress and evolve. So if we need to evolve, He will guide us and put us in places that gives us the opportunity to be better. So yes, maybe you have reasons not to like your mom or your dad, your sister, your brother, your cousin, whoever it is. But if you're there, it's because there's a greater purpose to help you eventually get near God, closer to Him, closer to bliss. So it's all about us not changing necessarily the situations, because you can't change your mom, dad, sister, brother, cousin, but changing your relationship with them, changing how you react and how you interact with them. And those are things that you can choose. You can go back and undo things that have happened in your past, but you can decide whether those things are going to take control of you or if you're going to take control of them. I know bullying is huge nowadays. You know, people call your names, they're mean to you, they make fun of you. You can choose to allow that to drag you down further and further down to the point where you do not with your life. Or you can choose to overcome it. I'm not saying it's easy. And make yourself stronger. And make yourself better. And make yourself more appreciative of who you are. Because one day everybody's going to grow up. And those people that bully you, they may not even remember you, or they may become worse than you. Because life is always changing. And it's not just about what things are like today, but what you can make of it in the future. And if you seek this, you know that things happen to you to make you stronger and to make you better, not to make you worse. Who wants to read this? Am I going to have 2 volunteers all day?
They are created equal, but they progress in both intelligence and morality at different rates.
So here we see why some people are smarter, why some people have different values, why some people get certain things and others get other things. Because although we were all created equal, remember, simple and ignorant, we all evolve differently. We all have experiences at different stages. We all have been exposed to different things at different moments. So we're not going to be looking like we're the same. We're going to look different, not just in the outside, which is, very obvious, but also in the inside. We talked about the sports, we talked about the art. Those are things that we are different. Some people, who's really good in math? Raise your hand. I heard someone like, math is the worst. Oh, it's gross. Yeah, so, right? Math, I think, is a subject that most kids struggle with in this country. Like, they talk math, it's like, ah! Yes. And you know what they say? They say men are better in math than women, so there's not as many women. Good. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what they say. Right? So, we have a couple of people here like, yeah, I'm good and math, I like it. And then we have people here like, oh, I hate it. God, no, please. There's difference in intelligence. And that's fine. I missed a comment. Oh, no, see? But your math now, it's to your level. Their math now is to their level because the math you're going to have next year, it's harder. So it's always progressively getting harder, right? Right? So hold on, guys. Let's keep it together, right? So that's a good point. He's saying that the math for you guys is easier than their math. But it's easier for them because they already did it. They already learned it. And now they're in a harder math. In 2 years' time, the math you guys are doing today, which may be hard, it's going to be easy. And that's the sense of progression, evolvement. Something at first will be difficult. When you first see whatever math problem or subject or whatever it is, it's difficult. But you do it once, do it twice, do it 3 times. Eventually, like you're doing in your sleep, and it gets easy. So by the next school year, oh yeah, that was a piece of cake. But in the beginning, things are difficult. And it's going to always be like that. So we cannot quit when things get difficult, because they're in the beginning, they're difficult because they're new. And people are going to be different. So you may have, I don't know, a brother who's brilliant in math, and you can't do 2 and 2, it's equal 5, you know? But you may be great at writing, or interpreting, or reading, and your brother can barely write a sentence. And it's okay. Because people, although we're all created equal, we are all in different stages, in all of different rates of learning. And there's these 2 levels of learning, the intellectual learning and the moral learning. And that's what we're going to get into, because that's where Spiritism becomes relevant. So we're going to pay attention, right? Right? Yeah. I know it can be a little boring, but that's what it is. You guys are learning to be part of a lecture. So we have the normal learning, school learning, math learning, and we have education. People say formal education when they relate it to school or college or whatever. But here, when we talk about education, we're talking about moral values, things that create our character. They're not math, they're not science, they're not writing, they're not literature. But here we're talking about your sense of self in a moral, character-oriented sense. How honest are you? How honorable are you? How forgiving are you? How patient are you? How humble are you? Which is very different than regular learning, which talks about intellectual values. How much of math and science and astronomy and literature and I don't know what else you know, social studies and history. This one, the education, develops the powers of the Spirit. Remember, we are all going to be perfect one day. And every lifetime, every life experience is a mission to allow us enlightenment and evolvement. So when we are educating and developing the powers of the Spirit. The learning illuminates the mind. But if you go back to this question 127, we progress in intelligence and morality. So we like to use the analogy of a bird. A bird without a wing, what can it fly? Right? It's going to flap one hand and just kind of drag along on the floor You need 2 wings. So we say that the wings of the Spirit, so that we can evolve and go towards God and, we don't use the term heaven, is intelligence and morality. Because intelligence talks about knowledge, and we're going to be all-knowing one day. Don't you want to tell your parents that? I know too. And one day you're going to be all perfect and moral. And here's the significance that I was talking about. You guys are all in school, and hopefully all of you will end up in college. I'll just say hopefully, because nowadays life is a lot more difficult if you're not, but there is a choice not to go to college. I know parents want to go to college, and I would say go to college, but it's not the make all or end all. But school, college, and everything, it teaches you to think, to reason, to reflect, to talk, to express yourself, to argument your points of view, to understand how the world functions as far as, geology and the universe and all of that. It makes you think. And it's of super, super relevance. And that's what, education and school, it's there for. But it doesn't talk about this. You don't go to a class that will teach you how to be more humble, how to develop patience, how to develop the values that develops your character. Most of it, people get it at home. And in the case of you guys, most of you are in Spiritist families. But even if you're not in a Spiritist family, or even if you don't get it at home, this is the role that Spiritism has in our lives to teach us this other aspect of ourselves so we don't have to be a broken-winded bird that drags and drags. Because Spiritism speaks clearly and makes us understand that we are more than just the student and the teenager that needs to go to school and get a career and a job and make a living. We are eternal human beings, eternal spirits that have a bigger and greater purpose in conjunction with having to go to school, have to become a professional and get a job and maybe have a family. It's two different aspects of who we are. So in Posthumous Works by Allan Kardec, I need a different volunteer now, please. Thank you.
It is through education more than learning that humanity will be transformed.
Thanks. The world is always changing. You guys may be very aware or not very aware, but we know that there are countries where they're in civil war. Or, countries like Africa where they don't have a lot of things and kids are dying of hunger and treatable diseases. Or we don't even have to go that far. We live in a world where people can, just show up someplace and hurt a lot of people. You guys have experienced that firsthand a little while ago. So we live in a world where things are unpredictable and that there are many things that we question, how can people do that? And there are things we're not in agreement. We may want to make the world a better place. Even if I don't want to make the whole world, I want my world to be in a better place. I don't want to be waking up in the morning afraid that somebody's going to pick on me, or afraid that somebody's going to judge me for my clothes, or my body shape, or my hair, or my accent, or because they're going to judge me because I don't have the money, or don't have the cell phone, I don't have that, or people are going to, cheat on me or betray me. I want to live in a world where I feel good about myself, whether others like it or not, and where I feel happy, or at least content. I don't want to wake up every morning and be like, oh crap, there goes another day. But that world, you have to create it from within. And it's only through education, by working on your emotions and your sense of self as an eternal being, that you're going to be able to not only change yourself, but change the world around you. We are more than what we are today. We are more than what we look like today. And what we look like and what we are, it's going to change. But who we are, eternal beings, that is going to continue on. So, in the book Adolescence and Life by Joana de Angelis, she likes to point that, I've been talking a lot about having a mission and what our mission is, and everybody has one. And generally speaking, they can be in two categories. One, to continue the tasks that were interrupted and resurfaces in the mental pains as pronounced aspirations and predispositions. What does that mean? It means that a lot of times in a prior life, we were working on something. Maybe we're working on, our sensitivity of the beauty. And we started working as an artist. But we haven't fully developed that skill. We haven't learned to see beauty in things yet. So you're going to continue on this lifetime. So in this lifetime, you're going to come back because that job was interrupted. And you're going to want to continue on. So you are born with a pronounced aspiration or predisposition. You're good at writing, or you're good at drawing, or you're good at seeing colors. And you just sort of, you're artistic. Or a person that has never had formal singing lessons and they sing really well. They have the aptitude. They have the predispositions. And they also have the interest to aspire for something, to want something. Some of you guys, I know usually you say, girls like dolls and boys like cars, which is not true. But you know what? Maybe as a little kid, you always liked, putting your car together and taking all the parts out and then putting it back together and rebuilding it and putting back on. And people are like, oh, he's just playing. Well, I tell you, if I put something apart, I will never put it back. I don't have the patience. It's going to linger there in pieces and it's going to go in the garbage because I'll never put it back again. But if you like to do that, that's already something you enjoy doing. Maybe you're going to become an architect or an engineer or a mechanic. Because you really enjoy doing that. You like putting things apart. Maybe you drive your mom crazy because, you put her toaster apart or something. I've known people that have done that. But it's all about finding out what you like to do. And it's not about stopping it because you're making a mess in the living room. It is not about stop it because you're wasting and you're breaking your toys. It is not about stop it, you got homework to do all the time. It's about, I really like that. How can I make that into something that I do every day? And maybe you find out you want to be an engineer or a mechanic or something. And that's how you'll find out when you come to terms with whom you are. Finding out the things you enjoy. Find out what are the things that make you feel good. Find out what are the things that makes you happy. And how can you apply that into something that will allow you to have a life in the future. There are weird careers like food photographer. You only make photos of food. You gotta like color up the food and make it, they use things like, cotton balls and flames and things. But that's a technique. It's something unique. That requires a sense of style and a vision and planning and understanding it. When you're messing up in the kitchen, you may be thinking just ruining the kitchen and making a mess, but maybe developing the skills to one day be happy at what you do. So you gotta find out. And in this sense, this is where parents are valuable. Because your parents know you guys well, and they see the things you guys do. And maybe they will point out, look, you're always doing that. Why don't you think of this? No, you don't know, Mom. You're so, you're square. I know I'm old. I know we're old. But sometimes we see things that you guys don't see. And maybe we're seeing things you guys already like. And you find a way to be happy that doesn't require so much more work. However, sometimes we also come to begin a new experience of activities that will evolve into a new path of life and of God. So sometimes it may be something new, something that we don't have a lot of experience in previous lives. So it may be a little more challenging. It may be a little more difficult. But that's what we said. Don't give up on the things that life presents to you. Because maybe you want to become something and life leads you to a different path. Because that may be God and your guiding spirits leading you to situations that will help you to find yourself not as, Julie and Johnny and Sam, but as an eternal being that you are. And this is where the collective group identity and what they call mirror person comes in. In this age, you're already so confused with the plethora of options you have of what to do with your life. Not forgetting, nagging mothers. What are you going to do? What are you not doing? Did you go to school? And then friends. Why are you doing that? Why don't you come with me? Why do your hair looks better this way. Why don't you change it? I don't like that clothes, And it's sometimes easy to get sucked in what we see on the TV. Some of these people on TV, I don't know how they got to look so good. Their body's perfect, their hair's perfect, their makeup's perfect, their nails are perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. But it looks good, and we want to be like that. And it's hard because sometimes I am never going to be Angelina Jolie. Doesn't matter how much I diet, put extensions in my hair, I'm never going to be her. But sometimes when I be so much like somebody else that we become so unhappy because we're not ourselves. I know today you can dye your hair, you can put, contact lenses, you can dress a certain way to fit in. But when you do that, that's when you lose track of yourself. And that's when the hole gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you become more and more miserable. I once worked with a girl. She had issues, lots of issues. She came in because she was cutting herself. You guys know all of that, right? You've heard it, you know somebody, you've seen on TV, in the movies. Nowadays, it's like a phenomena. And you would ask her, who are you? And the only thing she could say is, I'm a cutter. Well, what do you do? I'm a cutter. What do you like? Nothing, I'm a cutter. That's all she could say. She had no sense of self. And eventually what it turned out was, she had tried so hard to be what everybody else wanted her to do, or be, or look like. And this group wants her to look, fancy and flashy. The other group wants her to look, like you just woke up and you're wearing your pajamas. The other one, it's like the sporty people. The other ones are the geeks. She got so lost and confused. The only group she ended up fitting in was, they cut, I cut. I'm part of a group. She just fell in. And she mimicked what they did because at least she felt accepted. And sometimes we do that. We do things because we think that's what other people want us to do. You raise the skirts, you drop the shirts, you drop the pants, or you listen to certain music, not because you like it, because sometimes you think people like it. And that's where Spiritism comes in. It reminds you it is not about pleasing others, and it's not necessarily about pleasing yourself. It's pleasing what would be the appropriate thing to make you happy. It's like surgery. Nobody wants to go into surgery, but sometimes surgery is needed in order for you to gain health. In life, sometimes it's about making hard choices so that you can be happy with yourself. Because when you make choices based on what other people want, eventually you're going to feel sadder and sadder and sadder. Or, like they call the mirror person. You are not who you are, but you turn into a reflection of what others are. And you try to be just like them because then nobody will question you. And if you look in this picture, I loved it. It's like you see a head and you see legs, but there's nothing else. It's empty. In a moment where you're defining yourself, sometimes you fit in just to be equal because you don't want to be shunned out and alone. And Spiritism comes to remind us, we all have a mission. We are not forgotten. God didn't just like pop you here, pop, go. He chose where, with whom, how you would look. If anybody eventually, maybe, some of you may not be ready yet, but maybe for the parents, Missionaries of Light. There's a book from André Luiz, and some of the teenagers are able to read it. There's a whole section where they talk about every single detail of our bodies and our lives are pre-planned in the spiritual realm. They choose what color of hair, what body shape, or skin tone, our height, our weight. It doesn't just happen. And there was a lady, they were prepping her body and seeing, what she was going to look like. And she said, oh no, I don't want that. And she asked, why not? She's like, you're making me look too pretty. There's going to be too much temptations and I think I'm going to fail. Take away some of the beauty so I don't have to be so tempted. Sometimes we want beauty, we want fame or money. They're nice things. But it's not always what we need. Once we understand that God has given us what we need, even if it's not what we want, we're going to be working, we're being drawn, like that saying before, towards God and happiness. So it's about finding out who you want to be. Because why should other people tell you who you should be? Why aren't you telling them? So it's about seeking a sense of self and shaping yourself based on what Spiritism teaches us. No one's better and worse than the next person. We are different. But no matter what, we are all loved by God. We're all created by Him. And He sets us in the situation, place, and time that is best for us to grow and become happier. We're not going to be fully happy, but we're going to be happier. So another volunteer, please. Another volunteer there. Come on, guys. Thank you.
The true Spiritists can be recognized by their moral transformation and by the efforts they employ in order to dominate their bad instincts.
So what we see is Spiritism really teaches us to seek out a sense of moral understanding so that we can make the tough choices. We can make those decisions that are going to decide our future. I may be speaking a little bluntly, but, this age is what, 13, 12 and above, and we have younger. Even you kids, parents that think that they're not exposed to cigarettes and drugs and sexual content are not in this country. They are. As early as 9, 8, sometimes in games, in commercials, in the internet, in friends' conversation in the bathroom, or at school. All of these things are in your future. For these, sooner than later, you're going to have to make some choices. Do I want to hang out with that friend? Do I want to do what she's doing? Do I want to kiss that boy or that girl? Do I want to try that drink or not? These are all things, and nowadays it's happening much sooner. I see some people cringe in their faces. And like I said, I'm sorry if I'm being a little too blunt. But nowadays, we have girls giving birth at the age of 12, 13. And it's frequent. It is here. You have girls with, medical conditions because they engage in activities at an age of 11, 12. You guys are all going to have to make those tough choices. I know for some of you are not, it's very far away. For others, maybe not. Because it's easily accessible. It's easy to now not tell the truth. Mom, I'm going to this friend's house, when in reality you're going to another friend's house, because in that house, the mom allows boys to come over, and you guys having a little party in the basement. It happens. The internet today lets you meet any person in the world. So what we're saying is not that Spiritism prohibits us from doing anything and says, no, don't do it. Spiritism teaches us to think about it and make a choice. Do I want to do this or do I want to not do this? There's a chapter that talks about suffering, and it says that it is not, and I'm going to try to make it simple, and I think it's relevant for you guys to understand. It is not the pleasure of an activity that decides whether it's good or bad, but the consequences of that activity. Who likes to eat dessert? Right? So the more the merrier, right? Let me have, flan and brigadeiro and ice cream and give me chocolate cake and what else? Mellow Mars. What is it? Lava cake. Hot brownie with vanilla ice cream. Right? It's good. You know what? Imagine if your mom or dad said, you know what? No dinner tonight. We're going to have a dessert buffet. Eat as much as you want. Right? Good, right? You eat and you eat and you eat and you eat all the delicious sweet desserts. What do you think is going to happen in a couple of hours? Wait, guys, raise your hands, so much talking. What do you think will happen in a couple of hours?
In 1 hour, we're going to eat lunch.
No, come on. You ate so much dessert. You raising your hand? You're going to throw up. Well, that'll be in the long term, right? But in a couple of hours, you'll be really tired. Raise your hand. Yes. You're going to get sick, right? You might be making a lot of trips to the bathroom. We don't have to be graphic here, guys. So you're going to be like, oh my God, why did I do that? Shh. We're almost done, guys. We have Guys, we have a little over 5 minutes, okay? So thank you for being patient. I know it's difficult for you guys. And this is more serious material, so I know it takes more from you guys. So at the moment that you're eating all those desserts, it may be so fun and nice and cool, and yeah, Mom, yeah, Dad. And it's good. It feels good right there and then. But then, for the next 24 to 36 hours, you're throwing up, you're going to the bathroom, your head hurts, you're nauseated, you're sick. So the moment that you were having the dessert was fun, but the real consequence of that action was not so fun. And maybe next time when we have the option to eat all the desserts, we may say, you know what, I'm going to cut down, I have 2 or 3 only. And that's, come on, I'm not going to cut down to 1. Are you serious? Let's be real here. I ate 10 and got sick, I'll cut down to 3. And here is what it's like. You're going to have lots of opportunity. Like our friend says, let's go to that club. It's teens night. Do I go or do not go? I know that going, I'll be dancing and seeing a lot of, people and hanging out for a couple of hours. It'll be fun. But what kind of trouble could I get in? Or what the costs and the consequence afterwards? And you guys are going to have to think about that. That's the best way if you want to lead a happier life, is thinking about the consequences of things. And yes, if your friend invites you to a club, a teen club, guys, 5 more minutes, please. You're going to want to go. Or maybe that boy wants to kiss you, or the girl, and you may want to kiss them. But is that going to make me happy? Is that somebody that's worth being in my life? Is that somebody worth sharing my saliva with? That's what you do when you're kissing. Right? Oh, I'm being modest because there's lots of adults not used to it. Otherwise, it'd be different. Be more graphic. But here's the thing. When you say no to something you want because you know it's not good for you, you're working hard to transform yourself to become a better person and dominate your instincts. Every time you get angry and you want to throw something or punch the wall or curse or yell at somebody, because I know I want to scream when I get angry. And nowadays sometimes I want to kick. I do. But I hold myself. Deep breathing sometimes helps, sometimes doesn't. And I tell myself, don't behave that way. And I try to find other ways that fits me. Because I'm trying to control and dominate my instincts. We all have instincts. We all have negative predispositions. They came with us. But Spiritism, by reminding us we're eternal beings, we are fated for perfection, we all have guardian angels protecting and guiding us, and we all have a mission. And the mission doesn't have to be huge and big. The mission may just be to learn to be a patient person. Your mission may just be don't smoke cigarettes, let alone anything else. Your mission may be you're going to help your mom or dad when they get old. It may be little things. You're not looking at big things. But we all have a mission in life to make us better. So even if you choose not to tell your friends that you are spiritists, even if you choose not to say it because it's hard to explain it, even if you're away in college and you can't get here every week, even if there are not many books in English so you can't read a lot, you can choose to lead a life being a Christian, a spiritist. I need one more volunteer, please, that hasn't gone. Thank you.
Being a Christian is not a matter of how to believe. It is a question of character, incorruptible character, strong and consolidated through long and persistent self-educated work.
So even if it's hard for you to tell your friends I'm a spiritist or explain what it is, or like I said, even if you're away from the center, or you're, if your parents, I don't know if everybody's parents are here, maybe your parents aren't, or, whatever it is not a matter of how to believe. It doesn't matter what I say. It matters what I do. So it's not a matter of how to believe. It's a question of character. Incorruptible, strong, and consolidated in the work of self-work. So it's a matter of doing. It's a matter of understanding Jesus and his teachings of forgive all, which is what we started with. Be patient. Be humble. Be honest. Because you know what? I hear a lot, well, she did it, so why shouldn't I do it? He went, so I went too. Well, he did it first. We hear a lot of that. But what we're learning is it doesn't matter what other people did or did not do. It doesn't matter what our parents do or do not do, because parents aren't perfect. Some are great, and some really leave a lot to be desired. And that's the reality. It doesn't matter what anything or any person does or say. It's about learning from Spiritism, which helps us to understand the message of Jesus, to teach us how to work on ourselves in our everyday living. So that even if somebody betrays you, you don't have to be their friend, but it teaches you don't have to hate them. If somebody treats you badly, it doesn't mean that you have to treat them badly, because Jesus said, give them the other face. It tells you that if somebody steals, lies, and cheats, it doesn't say that it's okay for you to steal, lie, and cheat. And it doesn't matter if nobody knows or recognizes or appreciates, because Jesus and God, they know who you are. They know what your mission is, and they're guiding you towards perfection and happiness. So to end, Jesus in Luke 16 said, give an account of your management. And I cannot emphasize enough how relevant this is for all of us, but especially for you guys in the stage of your life. Obviously, I don't mean that you don't have to give account to your parents. You do, all right? You have to be responsible. You have to follow household rules. You have to be respectful of them. You have to follow whatever the guidelines of your family is. But what this is saying is, you have to worry about you doing the right thing. It doesn't matter if your friends don't care, if they don't appreciate, even if they make fun of you and say, oh, you're so square, or you're so silly, or you're so this. Because at the end, we are only responsible for what we do and what we inspire in other people. If we make people cry, we are co-responsible for their sadness. If we make people suffer, we are co-responsible for their suffering. But when we bring them joy and hope and second chances and opportunities, we are also co-responsible for that. And we're going to be reaping the benefit. But ultimately, it's your conscience. And if you don't know how to act, and you don't have a parent, a grandparent, a tia that can help you figure it out, seek out to Jesus, because he said, give an account of your management, meaning you're only responsible for what you do or do not do, and its consequences. So seek out not only the things you like and that give you pleasure, but the things that will make you at peace with your conscience, and that will lead you closer to the path of God through the teachings of Jesus. That is what Spiritism teaches us. And that's how it shapes our identity. Because it helps us to understand what we're made of, what we could be, and who we choose to be, which may not be what's easiest or most pleasurable at the moment, but is what will bring us true happiness, a sense of self, and a sense of peace. Because I am doing what Jesus taught me is the right thing that will lead me to happiness. And I only have to give an account to him and my family of what I do. So make good choices. And don't let yourself get so stressed out. It will pass. It's tough. It's difficult. But it's something that you guys can come out of it happy if you use Jesus and his principles found in Spiritism as your guide. Thank you, and have a good weekend.
So we want to thank Ligia, guys. It was wonderful. I'm sure we are going to reflect and think about that when we go to our homes. And we really like that everyone came and were here sharing these wonderful lessons that she talked to us about. And would like to invite everyone to close your eyes if you would like to, so that you can better connect to God and thank for these moments that make us think about who we are. What are we doing here? Where do we want to go? That these words and lessons may guide us in finding answers to these questions and guiding us to the path that take us closer and closer to God, to that feeling of happiness and accomplishment. Please be with us, all our families and friends, those who came, those who could not come. We ask for the children that we are doing this lunch now coming for, that have this horrible disease and they have to handle that. They don't have a choice now, but we know that we do have a choice now to make for us a better future. Thanks.